Jamar.
What's going on YouTube?
Washington.
This is Jamar here once again. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jamar here once again. It feels like I haven't been up on YouTube in forever because this past weekend I went to RuPaul's Drag Con. Bitch, that's gonna have to be a whole separate video. Then we're gonna talk about that. So, but today we're here to talk about this episode of Empire, y'all. This is the episode before the finale. Oh my god. I don't know what changed. Like, I think I said this before. I don't know what they changed as far as the writing and who the storyboards of the episodes, but this particular half of the season, since this series came back in what, March, late March, this shit has been on it every episode, giving it to us. So it's so sad to see it go, but at least it's going off on a good note. So, hold on, I got my water here with me. So we start this episode off with Lucius. You know, he's working with the band, trying to get the sound and stuff together for the Acer Awards. You know, he's tweaking little stuff here, tweaking little stuff there, and then Cookie comes in and is like, you've been doing this all night, like, why don't you go home? And he's like, you know, I want to get it perfect. I want to make sure everything is right. They have to be airtight, this, that, and the fourth. And Cookie's like, man, you've been, you know, hiding in your office. You've been working late. You've been doing all this just to try to get away from your mama. And he's trying to say, like, you know, I'm trying to tell you that she is dangerous. If y'all remember last week, we saw Mama Lucius is, she is not well. Mama Lucius is not well. Grandma is not right. She's touched. Okay. And I don't know if it's by Jesus or maybe by somebody else. And speaking of her mama, we see she's at home, right? Now, even though this episode was primarily really serious and heavy, more or less, this, I don't know why, but for something about this particular scene made me laugh. And I just watched Ashley Miller's review on this before I cut this camera on. If y'all remember last week, we all thought that Grandma offed, what's her name, the maid, the little black maid that was told to watch her. When she was talking about, oh, well, I dismissed her, I was like, oh, she done stabbed her up and cut her up in a corner somewhere. I was like, oh, Lord. But when we saw her again serving her breakfast, I'm like, okay, she's not dead. So she tried to talk to her and was like, you know, I got all your favorite foods. I got your eggs, your bacon, your sausage, you know, what have you. And she was like, oh, no, I don't need it. You don't season your food. I'm like, bitch, what? You don't season your... First of all, that didn't seem right because y'all know this is a black maid. You gonna tell me somebody black don't know how to season their food? Girl. And then secondly, she was offering her like eggs and bacon, sausage. Like, most of that stuff you don't season anyway. I mean, you might be able to season some sauces, but most sausages usually come with whatever flavor it's gonna have, unless you're trying to do some special shit. But for breakfast, you usually don't do too much. So I'm like, I don't know what she was talking about, but she said just get her some coffee. And didn't I fire you? Now, I know the maid has to be respectful. I know she, you know, she's an elderly woman and this is your boss's mother, so you can't just go off at the mouth. But in my mind, if I was her, I would have been like, bitch, I am employed under Lucius Lyon. Lucius Lyon is the one that writes my checks. You have been in the crazy ward for over 20 years, and now you've been staying in the house for 2 days, and you think you have the authority to fire me? I don't think so. So we cut to where Jamal is working with Frida Gatson on this new little collab thing for his black and white album, okay? And the producer, the download producer, I can never catch his name. They say it so many times, but I can never catch it. It's Jay something, but I just call it the trade producer. So the trade producer's listening to him, and he's watching. He's like, oh, you know what? That sounds pretty cool, this, that, and the fourth. And when Frida leaves out, he's like, hey, you know, your parents can't really take your sound to where I want, you know, your sound to take you. Like, I need you. I think it's about time that you, you know, dropped your mama or whatever. And he's like, what? What are you talking about? And she's like, you know, she ain't really trying to take you where you need to take you, and this, that, and the fourth. And I'm just like, Jamal, don't you dare fall for that bull. Like, what you talking about don't even sound right. This man he's not even, you know, mature enough to walk in his own truth. And you gonna trust this man with your career? That don't even make no sense. And I think Jamal was smart enough to believe it himself. Next, we pan to Mama. I don't ever know what to call her. Grandma Walker, Malucious Mama, Grandma. I can't decide on her name. It's just whatever comes at the moment. So Grandma is watching TV, seeing, you know, her son spew all these lies about, oh, you know, the song is, you know, dedicated to my mama. You know, if this person can help any other young boy out there that's going through the same thing, then, you know, I've done my job. And she's just sitting there getting furious. She is pissed because she's thinking like she's been abandoned. She's been basically killed off, or they want her to be dead, and she's just feeling, you know, all types of left out and just just enraged, and that this man is sitting up here telling all these lies to the public. And Andre is trying to help her get to the Acer Award because she's trying to. Everybody know that, you know, Lucius don't want her ass there, but he's trying to be like, oh no, she wants you there. We just want you to get you a nice dress, and we're gonna, you know, help you get into the award show. And I'm just like, oh boy, I already know she gonna go up in there and raise hell. I can just foresee her just spilling all the tea, and then when everybody knows that she's still alive, it's gonna just, like Andre said, mess up his whole entire credibility. It's just gonna be ugly. So I'm just like, oh boy, this old woman. I was thinking maybe, just maybe, she'll kind of come back as a positive character. Not at all. Even though that's not a good thing, it makes for great television. Now, this was probably one of the gags of the episode, y'all. Boo Boo Kitty is in Empire running after Rhonda, right? And she's like, you know, Rhonda, can I talk to you for a minute? And she's like, oh, well, you know, I'm about to be on the way to these fittings for these artists or whatever, but, you know, we can chat for a second, you know, what's up? She's like, you know, I didn't see you at yoga. I've been trying to call and text you, and I haven't gotten a response. And I'm just wondering, is everything okay? And she's like, oh, you know, I've just been, you know, busy with the fittings and things of that nature. And so Boo Boo Kitty's like, oh my God, it's because I'm showing, isn't it? And it's causing you so much pain. I'm like, I'm so insensitive. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, I'm happy for you. But I do want to ask you a question, though. That night when you came to look at the nursery, what were you wearing? Louis Vuittons with red bottoms? I just want to know. And she was like, I mean, I don't really remember. She's like, why? I was like, oh, just asking. And you could tell that her whole persona changed. She was looking at her like, bitch, I know you pushed me down the motherfucking stairs. And then you see Rhonda's like, oh shit, she knows I pushed him down the motherfucking stairs. And I'm mad that they cut to the next scene because I wanted to see how that scene was going to play out. How did she get out of that situation? Like, did she just say, well, I don't know what happened, I'm just going to walk away? Like, how did they walk away from that? Because that was really, really awkward. And I was like, I wonder if Boo Boo Kitty managed to snake her way out of that situation. But if y'all remember last week when that FBI guy was hitting up Carol Cookie's sister, so she finds out that, you know, they're going on a date or whatever. Cookie shows up to the date and basically is like, look, I don't know what you got going on with my sister, but I just need you to know that if you're trying to pull some bull on me and my family, there's going to be hell to pay. And, you know, the guy's trying to assure them, like, unless you got something to hide, then, you know, it's just me. We talking. You know, it's nothing. And what Cookie goes to say, you know what? I just want you to know that my sister has herpes, and I hope it's not too late for you to get checked out. I'm like, Cookie, why do you have to go and do that? That was so... I felt like that was so unnecessary. That felt like an extremely petty thing for her to do. And the next day, Carol walks into the office like, I heard you, what you said about him. Like, why can't you just let me have him? Why can't, everything has to be all about you? The only reason you have me around is because you feel like you're better than me and I can make you feel better about yourself. And Cookie was like, oh, so you think I don't care? You think I'm all of a sudden I think I'm just better than you? Well, take all your shit out of my apartment since I don't care about you, and you can just go, leave me alone, get the hell out of my face, this, that, and the fourth. Now, a part of me could see where both sides of the spectrum were coming from, because apparently while they were growing up, Cookie always stole Carol's boyfriends. Apparently Lucius was one of them. That passed. I don't know if we're ever going to get into that or not. But I can understand how if you're a sibling that always, takes what you have or has everything that you, I guess, would want to have and, makes you feel less than, then that can get annoying whenever something good happens in your life and they're trying to make it, or basically take that away from you and trying to say that they're trying to do you a favor. And it's like, no, like this, let me have this. If you have everything, let me have this, okay? You should be supportive of me being happy. That's on one end. Then on the other end, you have Cookie, whereas let's say that all the boys that Carol dated ended up liking Cookie. It doesn't necessarily mean that Cookie stole them from her on purpose. They could have just been fuck niggas and not have wanted to have anything to do with, they probably just lost interest in Carol naturally. And then if I know that I'm doing something for somebody else, whether it be a friend, a family member, if I know I'm doing something and, making, accommodations for people, and they come accusing me of not caring about them and all this other stuff, well, I'm going to be like, well, shoot, forget about it then. You take all your stuff, don't ask me for nothing no more, and go about your business since this is how you feel. Let me show you what it's really like, So I was able to understand where both of them were coming from. But this next scene, y'all, I have never, well, I can't say never, but this is one of the times where I have really wanted to take my hands, reach into the screen, and strangle Lucius Lyon by his neck. Because this scene where the producer and Jamal are in the studio, they're playing the song, it sounds pretty cool, and they getting up, leaning all up on each other's foreheads, getting all intimate and whatnot. And then they hear a door handle open and pull, and then just like that, like a switch, the trade producer pushes Jamal off him like, man, get off me with that gay shit, man. I ain't trying to, Lucius, and it was Lucius that walked through the door. Lucius, this is your son. You allowing this shit to go on? Like, this is what you all about, man? You need to check him on that, bro. I ain't with all that shit. I'm just like, really? Really? For real? That's what we doing right now? If I was Jamal, I just would not have been able to just believe, like, this did not just happen to me right now. I know this man ain't gonna sit here and try to play me just all the way to the left. But Lucius knew better. He was like, man, everybody know about that dude. Like, he's not as down low as he likes to think he is. But my thing is, anybody could have came into this studio and seen what y'all were doing. Like, I've tried my best to be respectful about your lifestyle choices and all this and the forth, but you're just out here willy-nilly doing all this other stuff, and you're not being grateful, and you're still beating me up about something that I did to you 10 years ago. And I'm just like, okay, first of all, just because something will happen 10 years ago doesn't mean that it's right or that I should be over it. And Jamal came back with a perfect comeback. He was like, look, you're still hung up over your mom splashing water on you over 40 years ago, and you still can't look this woman in the eye without crying. And Lucius could say nothing. Okay? There was nothing he could say about that. That's why he grabbed Jamal by the neck and was about to punch him. And then he said these words: when you die of AIDS, I'm going to celebrate. That's when I wanted to fuck Lucius up. If I never didn't fuck with Lucius, I did not fuck with him now, because that's just some low down homophobic ass stuff. Because it's all HIV is already like a epidemic amongst the United States, especially in Atlanta. I think Atlanta is the leading city with 1 in every 50 some odd people that are having HIV/AIDS. It's been said and proven time and time again that this is not just a gay disease. If I'm not mistaken, last I checked, the group of people who have the highest cases of HIV are African American women. So that whole stigma needs to stop. And just to say something like that to your child, even in the midst of, emotions, it's still fucked up no matter how you try to slice that. And I was like, that is some low down shit. Lucius, I'm watching your ass. So now that Jamal is pissed, she tries to go over to Cookie and try to explain, what Lucius had just said to him. And he was starting to say that he was in the studio with Frank, let's say Frank, with Frida. And of course, Cookie just stopped. She wasn't even hearing nothing else after that. Like, once he said that he was in the studio with Frida, she was like, look, I need you to not be around her. I need you to just leave her alone. And this, that, and the fourth. And so Jamal was just still confused as to why. And so she pretty much told him the story about how she had to snitch on him so she could get out. And when she snitched on him, it put him in jail. And by him being in jail when Lucius was in jail, that's when Lucius had him killed. And so now Jamal is just so distraught. He's like, his dad just cussed him out. He figured out that his mom just snitched and got his new friend's father killed. And so he's just not feeling his family right now. And so we pan over back to Andre. Andre's trying to take his grandma to the Acer Awards. And Thirsty says, oh, bitch, you thought. Because he was waiting right at the door and locked him in the panic room so that without his phone, so he was not about to call nobody. He was not about to set up no scenes. He was trying to make sure that this Acer Awards goes down without Mama Walker, Dwight Walker, whatever her name we want to call her, doesn't blow the top off this whole secret. So now we get to where the Acer Awards are starting. And then, the producers, or not the producers, but the journalists come up to Jamal and ask him, what's the deal about the album? And what can we expect from the performance tonight and whatnot? And he says that this is going to actually be, he's shelving the album and that this is going to be the last time that they see him performing with his family. And the press is kind of like, what does this mean? And so he rushes over to Frida and is like, look, after the Acer Awards, I think we should, drop off of Empire. We can find you a new label. Like, after this performance, everybody's going to want to work with you. And Frida's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm good here at Empire. And he's just like, look, whatever you do, just stay away. And so Carol comes in screaming, drunk, high, or whatever kind of influence she was under. She came through the Acer Awards looking for Cookie, and Cookie was like, hey, girl, and, faked hugged her and then grabbed her by her weaves, like, look, Carol, I need you to walk away. You are not about to sit here and embarrass me. And, before I drag you up down this red carpet by your cheap weave, girl. So, she asked the security to make her leave. And so as she's being pulled out, she stops by Frida and she's like, oh, hey, how you doing? This, that, and the fourth. And she was like, do you need an Uber ride? Because even Frida could tell that she, someone right. So she was like, oh, you think you better than me? This, that, and the fourth. And she's like, that's what did she say? That's why Lucius had your daddy killed in jail or something. And then Frida just stopped. And all of a sudden, she just started putting all these things together about how her father and Lucius' relationship was, remembering how it was in jail, and just like their whole dynamic. So once she put 2 and 2 together, Frida, I saw it, I was like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh God. She runs up. This all happened in slow motion, by the way. She runs up, grabs the gun off of some security guard, and runs up and tries to straight up shoot Lucius in the back of the head. However, I guess Jamal saw her coming. It was like, no, Frida, stop. After what just happened, after what, that's hard to say. It's hard to say not being in a situation. But after my dad just tried to tell me that he hopes I die of AIDS, I would have directed Frida like he's right over there. Make sure you get a clear shot. Make sure the sniper is on. That's just me, you know, being petty. But I guess, you know, family and real love and I guess that stuff all applies. So he was still trying to stop her. And he ended up getting shot instead of Lucius. And so now everybody's in an uproar. Everybody's in a panic. You know, Taraji P is giving one of the greatest scene deliveries of her life, crying over her child. They in the hospital, and they didn't even win the award, y'all. I just remembered that. They did not even win the award, that they had did all this fighting and all this pettiness back and forth between Jamal and his dad. It went to some random person. So now Jamal is in critical care. Everybody's in the hospital tripping and just, ugh. And then, excuse me. They let the grandma come to the hospital with Andre because they had them locked up in the panic room. But I guess once that came out about, you know, his family or whatever, okay, they let him out. They go to the hospital. So while everybody else is in this big commotion, Grandma Walker decides to walk outside. Now, mind you, the whole press is outside waiting on the next, you know, update on Jamal's condition. So they all swarm Mama Walker and it's like, ma'am. What? Oh. It said, ma'am, are you connected? Do you have any updates on Jamal's condition? Like, are you connected to the family at all? And she said, yes, I'm a part of the family. I'm just like, oh, shit. Why don't y'all have this lady on a leash? Well, I mean, that's disrespectful to say on a leash because it is insinuating that she's a dog and, yeah. I ain't trying to say that, but y'all need to keep your eye on this bitch. She is not right. Y'all can't take her eye off her for a second. Okay, and then they was trying to ask her, like, how are you connected to the family? And then she looking back and forth, and then the scene just ends. I'm like, oh, come on. Come on, man. Y'all know we want to see. I bet she opened her big mouth. I can just bet you that she opened her big mouth and told me that she's Lucius Lyon's mother. And now, not only is Jamal's, you know, being shot, now we're going to have this whole thing about, oh, Lucius Lyon's mother is still alive, and he lied to us, and boom, boom, boom. It's just a big lie, and it's just going to be a big mess. Oh gosh, but this is an awesome episode, y'all. This is a really, really awesome episode. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments. I'm so glad to be back. I'll have to just tell you guys about the DragCon experience because it was definitely a one for the books. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Like, share, subscribe.
Jamar Washington.